We are recording. We're recording. We're in. Yeah. I should get that clapper. I have one.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, on my phone, I've got one.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. On my iPad. When I'm shooting, I never use it. Never. Even when I'm shooting.
Quiet on the set. Quiet on the set.
Quiet. Welcome to Studio Shrinkage's podcast number 39. Welcome all. Welcome all. Well, we have a two-parter starting today. But we're going to do our normal thing, the news. There's a couple changes. Number one is, this is our first two-parter. There's a before and after. The second thing that's changing is the plugins thing seems to be a problem for Will. So,
no, I just
65 trillion plugins, and you run out of plugins. Only you would run out of a plugin.
No, I got a good one today.
Okay. Well, here's what I thought about that section, that segment. The plugin segment is that we could use not just plugins, but maybe utilities or things that add functionality. Mm-hmm. You know, if there's something that enhances something, even if it's not a plugin directly, then I think we should include it.
Sure.
So that's what the two changes. So we're going to start with the news. I have a lot of news.
I thought I did, but I stuck to two little things.
Okay, well we'll both talk about the big one, which is Live 11 coming out. We actually already mentioned this, by the way. A little while ago, I think I brought it up in terms of that it was coming, but it's been released, yeah. Live 11. I back to the issue where I have too many DAWs, and I've at least stopped updating most of them, but there's 3 I still update. No, 4. Which is, of course, Logic, which is easy because so far it's been free, and it's my main DAW. I also keep up Studio One, and the reason I keep Studio One up is because many people that are on PCs, that's a DAW I always suggest to them, and so for me, I have to keep up on that as well because people send me entire, mixes using Studio One, and it's just easier for me to keep it running. So I've got that running.
For collaboration.
Yeah, exactly. Because Logic isn't available on a PC, so there's that. Mm-hmm. I also keep Reason up because I don't look at it as a complete DAW. I look at it as it's a great plugin now, and that's what I use it for. And the fourth one, which is, of course, what we're talking about right now, is Live. I keep up with that because of its, in fact, live capabilities. However, a lot of what I see here in terms of Live, by the way, their update price, and it's not that cheap. It's $220 for me to go from what I already own to what the new one, which is the big system, but man,
the suite.
Yeah. But a lot of their enhancements, for what I could see, and maybe you can correct me on this, it seems to be related directly to its DAW capabilities. Am I wrong about that?
No. I have it, and you're right. It's one of those I keep up with, too. I don't use it a lot as much as I should, but I do think it has its place in my workflow for remixes. We talked about this not too long ago. So it looks the same, feels the same.
You have it already. You have 11.
Yeah. It looks the same. I haven't used it. I just got it yesterday, so I haven't used it much. But it kind of revolves more about the functionality of MPEs, which are these newfangled MIDI controllers. I don't have any experience with any of these guys. I don't know if you do, but these are like the weird rollies and things like that. And
oh, right.
So again, I think you're mainly right. It's more performance-driven, live performing.
Oh, see, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the opposite of that. I'm saying that from the first thing they talk about right now is take recording and comping, line track editing, totally DAW stuff. And I was surprised to see this because it seems to be, I don't know how they expand what they do without adding things they don't have already. And they've always been a pretty, in my opinion, poor DAW. Just like Reason is a terrible DAW. I mean, I would never use it as a DAW. I wouldn't. There's just too many better choices. And that's how I feel about Live. To me, Live does what they do best, and that's a live performing tool.
From what I was getting, is this these new MIDI controllers? I don't know, it just seemed
but that's live. Yeah, for sure it is. For sure it is. And there's some new devices, like reverbs and spectral resonators and spectral primes and pitch loops. Those, to me, I suppose they're both, but to me, I feel more. Look, there's a whole thing about doing more on stage, like tempo following, macro snapshots, rack improvements. I'm not sure what that means. You can have. I suppose sometime I do. Maybe I'll get it, but I don't know. I don't do that. I don't do anything with it actually anymore. If I was doing a duo or something or something I needed loops for or a live performance, I might be more inclined. But anyway, so that's our first piece of news. Unless you have something else to add to it.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I have other stuff, but not Ableton Live. I need some time to play with it because I did jump from like 9 or 10 to 11. So.
IK Multimedia iRig preamp. Now, why does anyone care? I'll tell you why. Because it's great for video people. There's a 48 volt interface that sits on top of your camera but plugs in through a mini connector. And now you've got 48 volt of any type of mic that you can plug right into a regular DSLR. So that's kind of cool, I think. And it's really small. It's got metering. Yeah, that looks like that could be something. It's $50. It's not bad.
Yeah, and I assume the old iRig stuff worked with iPads. I think this is probably something that may be compatible with iPads too. Yeah. Oh, sure. It is. It's got there's a phone app, so it's got to be the same as Yeah. So that's another piece of news. What about another piece of news from you? One is I don't know if it's up your alley, but a band called Daft Punk. French. It's two French guys that created a lot of electronica, techno-ish dance music over the years. Actually, they were doing music for 28 years. They decided to call it quits, and in a kind of unique way, they put out like a 7-minute YouTube video. But their personas were not themselves. They never really showed their face. They built these robot characters and acted as the robots whenever they performed live and did DJ and stuff like that. But they did a lot of cool stuff and like crossovers with different musicians and rappers, rap groups. I mean, they did a collaboration with Nile Rodgers, guitar player, got me into some other types of music that I don't think I'd normally listen to, because they kind of crossed over a lot of different genres of music. Yeah. If you heard some of their stuff, you probably recognize it from commercials, TV, movies. But I really enjoyed their music, and they decided to break up after almost 30 years of making music together. Wow. That was interesting. News. But yeah, they did it in quite of a, like I said, a unique way. If you get a chance, look at their YouTube video. It's a very just interesting way to say goodbye to their fans. So we'll see what they do. Maybe they do something separate on their own solo. I don't know if they can, because they're just iconic as a duo. But they decided to call it quits after almost 30 years. Here's a duo that really matters. No, I'm just kidding. There are some rumors that Geddy Lee and I can't think of his name, guitar player. Oh my God, from Russia, are planning on doing something together. How could they do it without Neil Peart? I don't know. Okay, so here's my next piece of news. There's a next-gen Rode Wireless Go that adds dual-channel recording now. And it's really small. And it sits right on top of your phone. And it does dual-channel recording. It does... it's got a TRS output, USB-C, iOS digital output connection, onboard recording up to 24 hours of recording, mono and stereo modes. It's just this little baby cool thing, and it's $300. It looks really, really neat. Rode, man, I got to be honest, Rode is really hitting this small market great, big time. They're hitting this whole portable camera thing and
portable mics, and they make great stuff. I mean, their products are great. One of my. In fact, I don't remember if you even sold this to me, but I believe the very first decent mic I had was an NT1, which I sold, by the way. But that's a great mic. It's still a great mic to this day.
Yeah, the entry level, decent price, $199, $299.
Yeah,
very affordable. All of their stuff is really affordable. I mean, I'm using a $99 mic for this podcast from Rogan.
Right.
It sounds
It's
fantastic.
amazing.
So yeah, they make really good stuff and quite affordable.
Yeah. My last piece of news is a Sony FX3, which is a compact, full frame.
Mine again.
Oh, you had that too?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you talk about it? Because I don't know that much about it. Except that Sony, you have to give them some kudos, man. Whether you use them or not, when it comes to cameras.
Yeah, they are. It's a fairly affordable price for a cinema camera. It's a little under $4,000 for the body. 4K 120 frames, 1080p 240 frames. So you can get some really crazy slow motion.
Yeah.
They built this off the A7S3, so I'm assuming it's going to take great pictures too. Mm-hmm. But its main design, the body design, is for cinematic camera style. So you have these extra holes, quarter 20 holes on the top of the camera to mount handles and things, and make it a cinema camera. They do use a new kind of media that I've not heard of yet. It's called CF Express. It does look like it holds regular SD cards, so you have dual slots, and then you can use these new CF Express. I don't know if it's Sony trying to make up their own media, but
no, CF Express is not actually all that new. I mean,
because I know the old. I remember seeing the CF, the Super CFs. They look kind of like compact flash, but these look smaller than those that we were seeing in some of those other cameras. CF Express Type A, they call it. Mm-hmm. So they look small like SD cards. They don't look like the original CF Express card. So I don't know if, again, I have to look more into that, but it does have the swivel out screen. So it looks like it's going to be good for, if at the price point, I don't think it's made for everybody, but again, it's not as expensive as a Red, or any other cinematic. It's kind of in that black magic area where it's like $3,000 to $4,000. You can get yourself a really good cinematic camera. It's not even out yet, but so I don't know if there's a lot of people that can speak to if it gets hot, because I know 4K, if you're running 4K for a while, it can get hot in a SLR style body. Yeah. So that's I'm kind of interested in its performance. So in the next coming weeks, I'm gonna keep an eye out. But it's small. It looks like or kind of run and gun. It
looks neat.
YouTube videos. But it looks cool, and it's fairly affordable.
Okay. Well, I have two more.
Go for it.
Blackmagic went crazy again.
Again? How did I miss that?
Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro.
Oh, jeez.
And the ATM Mini Pro. The Pocket Camera 6K Pro has a couple of differences. It's a little bigger, not much, but it has a eyepiece. It has a movable screen, so you can actually move it around. It's really nice. It has built-in ND filtering, so it has some really cool things. The biggest one to me is a battery, because now it takes Sony batteries, and there's an adapter that on the bottom allows you to put 3 in at once, so you can get hours instead of 3 minutes.
That was always a problem with their cameras.
Yeah, so it's a big deal. $2,500. I don't even know how they do this, honestly. It's crazy. Still shoots 6K. It's nuts. The thing about them, though, for me, and every time they do this to me, I keep saying, just add autofocus. Just add autofocus. If they added autofocus, there would be no question. No question. If they added autofocus, they would sell billions of these things. And even many cinema cameras, Canon cinema cameras, all have autofocus. It's a thing. It's not that weird to have autofocus when you're doing fast motion. It's not that weird. I know it's against the cinema thing where you can't do too much of cinema. No, we don't want autofocus. You do want autofocus. And if they did that, they would sell trillions of these. I'm telling you. Anyway, that's a big deal. Actually, this camera is really intriguing. $2,500. I honestly, nothing's close. Nothing's even close to it. And they have a new version of the ATM Mini, a bazillion more buttons. That's all I can see by it. If you look at it, it's gigundor. The ATM Mini Extreme. Look at the Extreme.
But wait a minute.
There's a Pro. Yeah, but look at it. It's now 8 instead of 4 cameras. It has all sorts of stuff. It has 8 HDMI's. They should have put some. Anyway, whatever. I think whatever. I know why they're doing it, because it's still not considered the professional line. But anyway, they have 2 USB ports, separate HDMI outputs. Now there's 2 instead of 1, which is kind of a big deal. So you can have a preview system, and you can have a switching output. 2 USB ports, headphone connector, 4 chroma keys, 6 picture-in-pictures, and 2 media players, and multi-view with up to 16 views. Very cool. Man, I got to say, they do push the envelope, Blackmagic. To me, this is a company that pushes the envelope and tells you this is what could be, but we're not going to give you all of it. They always just miss. They miss by this much every time. And they make phenomenal stuff. Their stuff lasts forever. I've never had a problem with their gear. They're really good support people. I've talked to them. They're very helpful. Their gear's fabulous. The price is just to die for. It's the best. But they always just miss the mark, to me. And I've had a lot of their gear. So.
Yeah. How do they do it for $1,000? All that input.
Isn't that amazing?
All that I/O, control, software, $995.
It's nuts.
It blows my mind how they do that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's absolutely berserker.
I'll say.
Okay, so that brings us to our main topic. So I'm going to start by showing the way my system looked. That's the way my system looked.
Oh, what a mess. Horrifying. I couldn't imagine getting any work done. I'm just kidding.
Thanks a lot. It seems incredibly anally clean to me. Okay, so here's the thing. I just obviously shot this when the sun was coming blazing through the back window. I don't know why I did that, but the point of this is that this is an Icon Procon X controller system with 3 extensions.
Not a QCon?
QCon, yeah. Icon is the manufacturer. QCon Procon X is the model. Okay.
Say that 5 times fast.
No, it's a terrible name. And so it's been replaced by the G2. So, okay. So, when I bought it, I was very excited about it because it did everything I wanted it to do. Everything from a controlling perspective. It was not inexpensive, but it wasn't terrible. It was like, at the time, I believe, $800 for the main one and 6 or 7 for each one of the extensions. And I went nuts, of course. The first problem I started happening was that one of the extensions just stopped. Some of the faders stopped working. So I was in contact with the people that repair the stuff, and it was 2 years after it failed. Talking about failed, not just issues. They were very helpful. They sent me a new board. They said, if you're going to do it, even you're out of warranty, that's okay, just do it. So they sent it to me. I replaced the board. It started working. And then I started having fader problems on other devices. One up, one down. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And there's a little lights next to each one of the faders which tell you, I'm sending MIDI messages. And sometimes they're on all the time. Sometimes they're not. I have no idea why. It makes no sense. There's ways to adjust And it seemed to be something that was necessary all the time. Adjust the faders, recalibrate them. And I tried that, and then I tried updates. I'm even using a beta version of the driver. It's a basic Mackie control user interface for all DAWs. But that's not the big problem. If that's not enough, there's a much worse problem. And that is, for reasons beyond my understanding, it just loses connection. And it started in the very beginning, it got worse and worse and worse. And now it's to a point where it just freezes every single time I use it. And I can't tell you the days and hours of frustration I've had with that piece of equipment. Piece of equipment. So I did a lot of research on this, and I'm not going to bash the thing, but I will tell you that I've had very bad luck with it. And a lot of other people have too. I've read a lot of terrible reviews. I mean, no, reviews are, come on. Somebody has a bad day and then they, it's always the equipment's fault. This is not. This is definitely a problem. And they say, don't use a hub. Just plug direct in. Well, first of all, I have a Mac Pro 2013 with 4 and 5, 4 USB ports and 5 billion things I have to plug into it. So I had to use a hub. Here's the second stupid part about it. Guess what they have in the back of the main controller? Oh yeah, a hub. Why would you put a hub in there if they say don't use a hub? It's like, what are they doing? Anyway, so I gave up. That's what the bottom line is. And so thus my search begins to figure out, what I'm going to do about this. Because I have to, I can't sell it. If I sell it, I'm going to sell it for scrap parts. I'm going to sell it for people that have more luck than me or whatever. I'm going to sell it. Here's a deal, guys. You're getting a good deal on this, but don't ever talk to me again because I've had nothing but bad luck with it. So I'll make the price right, but I'm not going to make any money on this. This is probably $3,000 worth of controllers, and I'll be lucky if I get $500 for them. Yeah. So it's really frustrating, and they're not going to take them back, and they're not going to trade them in. So I have a real problem with the way they're handling this. That's number one. So, but the second problem is, what the heck do you, how do you replace it? So. That's part 2, and we're going to talk about that next week. And we've already kind of led ourselves down the path to do this. But so my next picture is this is what I've decided to get rid of. This on the left-hand side, you see there's the video switching system. On the right-hand side is a Behringer X32 producer, and this is a PA system controller board, digital board, which by the way works flawlessly. It's a Behringer. I never had any problems with it. It's perfect. But I have to get rid of some stuff to pay for this, so that's gone. Okay, so I'm selling it. And there it is. And there's that. And that's all the stuff that came with the icon. Okay? This is gone. This is packed up to say bye-bye. So this is the stuff I'm getting rid of to make up for the cost. And now, as you can see, there's just a missing hole there.
Oh. Gives you more room to move around, yeah.
Oh, actually, it's really unbelievable how much room I have. This is that's why we're talking about this. This is the perfect example of studio shrinkage. Mm-hmm. I have so much more room. In fact, let me tell you how much more room I have. So I have a green screen behind me, and I can't get out when it's set up. It's like locked me in because of the two. Now I have a whole entranceway. It's so beautiful. It's a beautiful. Let me see if I can get the. Yeah, see, now I can get out. Look. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. But that starts. What is up? Can someone please explain to me why there are so few control systems? What is?
We've been talking about this for years. We probably talked about it a dozen times throughout this podcast. There's understand. Such an empty space. There's big controllers coming out our ears. If you have $50,000 plus,
you mean big buck ones, yeah.
$25,000 plus, you can get the beautifulest motorized,
Yeah.
beautiful from anybody, from Pro
Right.
Tools, from SSL. But you're spending $25,000 to $100,000.
Right.
You probably need to have a real professional studio in a big city to afford that. We
Right.
can't afford that.
No, of
You
course
do
not.
it professionally. You use it professionally, but not for studio recording. But it's something a necessity for
Yeah.
for what you do. And then there's these little guys, these little Behringers that work fantastic, $200,
They
$300,
do.
$400, $500.
They do.
But there's nothing in the middle. That's just I need 16 to 24 faders.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
There is, but then there's unfortunately the quality that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Um,
So let me show you what I came up with. This again. So this is what I came. This is Sweetwater. This is the controllers that you can get. Now, I think you brought this up. There's a couple on this page that do make some sense. You spoke already about the UF8, which is the solid state, the SSL. That's an interesting piece. I agree. It's a quality. It's not inexpensive. It's $1,300, but it's an interesting piece.
But it's also the smaller side of these guys.
Yeah. But here's the one I think that's the most important, and that is right there. And that is the PreSonus FaderPort 16. I think that is one that is really intriguing, because it is 16 faders and it does all the basic controls, stuff like that. But as we were talking down here, you've got this. The X touches work, but this is a great piece of equipment. I've owned this, and a couple of it.
Extenders, their version of the extenders.
So it's really, they're bulky and they're frankly pretty ugly, but functional, man. They work. They're really, really nice, and they're a bargain. So that's what I had prior to this high-end Procon, QCon, Icon, Pro X controller. Except these worked for half the price. Anyway.
Yeah.
Then I went to something else, and it's up here on the right side of this page. So let's look at that. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you did have one of those.
I did have one of these. And that is a Slate. I had the MTI-1. And it's very cool, but the software, man, was uber buggy to me. It was, and plus they charge for every DW own. And so, I mean, it just really, I'm not a fan. And so I sold that. I wasn't happy. And plus, it's kind of neat to do. It looks really neat, right? And functionally, and you can do all these really cool things. Like you can have go like this across, like an EQ, and it's really neat. You can change knobs and stuff like that. And because it's software, it changes with you depending on what you want. 3 issues. First issue is the drivers. Man, did I have issues with that? But once I got it running, the touch, the tactile, lack of tactile feel with just touching a screen was a problem for me after a while. And the third, even though there's some real advantages, I missed the faders. And the third problem was it's a monitor. If you have 2 of these and you're already using 3 monitors, well, guess what? You can't. So I even considered, for a slight insanity point when I was trying to figure out how to replace this, how to make. I was thinking about going back to these things, but then I looked at them and I don't want to go through all this again. And then I'd have to figure out how to get 5 monitors running. I mean, I couldn't do it. So I gave up on that idea. So that is one really interesting option, but I've tried it and I don't feel, for the reasons I explained, I don't love them. For me, doesn't mean someone else wouldn't love them. This seems to be probably one of the best options out here. The FaderPort 16. They make a FaderPort 8 as well. It's basic functionality. You know what I mean? It doesn't do millions of things, but it does a lot, and what it does probably does pretty well, right? So this is something to consider, and it's not astronomical. I mean, it's $1,000 for yeah. And then, of course, frankly, the Behringers. I mean, frankly, this is really, for the money, it's just really quite a bargain. Although, actually, when you think about it, this is $500, right? And if you got an extension, it'd be about $9. So you'd have the same as the PreSonus 16 for same price, basically.
By
And what,
brand, yeah.
yeah, and but look at the functionality of this. It seems to have more
A
stuff,
little
and
bit
maybe I'm
more,
wrong.
yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit
Anyway,
more. And
so what do I get? What I mean, really, it's just like anyway. So if someone has some ideas, that's fine. I've actually already made my choice, and it's not the direction that you might think here, but I would say that I wish more people made these things. I wish more people. There's just a big empty. To me, there's a massive empty hole here in this area.
yeah. Yeah.
At least that's my opinion. Maybe other people don't think that. But so that's. I'm going to make a change. What's left?
Oh wow.
I thought I'd show you that.
How much space it takes up. Wow.
Yeah, and those are the powers of, as I started ripping. So this is what I've been doing for the last week, backing up stuff to go, and
Wow.
it's really weird. Look at that. So okay. So this is kind of funny, because I'm not going to tell you, but what is this guy doing with tape? This happens to be the exact physical locations and sizes of the new device. And it looks a little weird because this goes beyond this, and this goes up to this. But right here, this is where this is the footprint of the new thing, and these are the patch cables coming from the PA system. And I believe that's as far as I'm going with what I've picked for this replacement.
Spoiler alert, you can see the reflection of that screen.
Yeah, I know. But even that doesn't really help you much.
Okay.
So
people are gonna dice.
What are they doing? What's that?
Yeah.
What was that?
CSI. Enhance. Like CSI. Zoom in. Oh, that fuzzy license plate. We can read it. Enhance.
Oh God. So yeah. Anyway, that's pretty funny because that is actually the measurements. Schematic drawing. What am I going to replace it with? Well, we'll see. I will tell you, this is what I've done since. Those cables. You can see the cleanup. I've done a lot of cleanup. Here's an interesting thing. You always make fun of me actually with this because we have a lot of glass. We have the glass tables, glass desks. I had to clean all the glass today because we have company. So it's, so it spent like 2 hours cleaning glass. I really actually hate glass. I told Joe if I would live alone, I would never have glass again. I would be gone forever, never have glass. But anyway, the interesting thing is when you pick all the stuff up, no matter how many times you clean the desk, there's some. It's bad. It took me hours to clean this desk. Hours. What you're looking at there is a pretty clean, desk. Boy, it wasn't when I picked. I had like a layer of dust on everything. It's really bad. We live, in Florida, and there's sand everywhere. Our backyard's sand, so if sand flies in from everywhere,
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
It's crazy. So, anyway, I did a lot of research. I looked at a billion ideas, a billion choices. And then when I started honing in on what I was going to get, I spent a whole lot of time studying it. And next week we will do the reveal. And by the way, I will also do an unboxing, which I'm sure millions of people have done this already anyway. But what I've chosen is... maybe this is a 3-parter. I don't know. This thing does a trillion things, so we'll see. So anyway, that's our main topic.
Continued.
To be continued, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings us to plugins / software. I don't know what you want to call that. Maybe it would call utilities. I don't know. What do you have for a plugin today, Mr. Will?
Last week we spoke about a company called Splice.
Have you been
not a sponsor? I bought stuff. Okay, I couldn't help myself. I was like, I need a new plugin. I started looking around, and then I've come upon their top pick, Serum. Well, I started doing research, and in my realm of electronic stuff, that's one of the top plugins rated in the industry for rap and electronica dance. On Splice's website, it has 4.9 stars out of 3,109 reviews, and it's about $200. But if you land on Splice's page, there's a quick little video, and I believe it's the owner or the creator of Serum. He said, "I want people to have this plugin, but not everybody can afford to spend $200." So we connected with Splice, and we have the rent to own program. Zero
$9.
interest, $9.99 a month. Zero interest, zero hidden fees. I pay a little tax on it, but you get 3 days to really decide for free up front before they
That's
charge
great.
you. 3 days. You can go through you get the install and
That's
use your
wonderful.
login to Splice, and instantly I had the plugin. 3 days I could say, nah, I don't think I'm really going to be able to use it. And they don't charge a card if you just say, hey, I'm going to use it, and then for some reason you don't have the $10, you cancel, and they put it on hold. And after 19 payments,
it's yours anyway.
It's yours.
Yeah.
No matter how long it take you, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, however you stop it every now and then, it's yours. $10 a month. So my new favorite plugin is Serum.
So it's a synth with 3 oscillators, 4 filters.
Sorry, I just want to give you a sample.
I heard it. Advanced unison oscillator stacking, 4 filters, 4 LFOs, 10 effects, 16 note polyphony, 450 presets. So what makes Serum different than the 5 billion other synths that I own?
It's not probably that different, but for the price, it gives you a lot more sounds than I would expect for a plugin about this price, a little under $200. You usually have to find those more expensive bundles like your V collections, or what's the other one, Nexus, that with the whole library costs $3,500 to get as much as you get out of a synth. I think this has a better quality to value ratio. So it's nothing new, but it is just the most rated because it sounds fantastic. There's 450 presets, broken down by different groups: bass, hard, FX, leads. Easy to use, easy to get around, and then you could tweak your own sounds. You have all the parameters you'd have on a hardware synth or any of the other big synths out here. You can tweak knobs to your desire to make your own sounds. But me, I like presets, so having a base of 450 plus presets is just, I think, a big plus for most people that are just getting started out or don't have I don't know how to create sounds from scratch. So that's some of the reasons I like it.
So let me ask you about the rent to own thing again. So it would take 19 payments to pay for it because it's $190.
$189 or $89.99. So 19 payments, $10.
So it's really just,
so that'll take
they're just financing you for free.
Yes.
And here's where they make money. Use it for 6 months. You go, I got something that does the job better, or I don't need it anymore. They've made all that money. Because they've paid and licensed that piece of software full price. Or maybe they don't. Maybe they get a deal. That's another possibility. So maybe they don't pay $190. Maybe they pay $130 or something. So just the first time they rented for a few months, they were already beginning to pay their investment back. It's really this is a great idea. I'm so thinking this is such a cool idea.
That's what got my attention, is when watching the video of the guy saying we worked with Splice to do this, and he loves the concept. It sparked, in my mind, all I could think about, and I don't want to put, I'm not talking bad about these companies, but Adobe, DigiDesign, or Avid, their models are all subscription based, but they never ever end.
I know,
and that's not totally fair.
I agree.
I get it. There's a lot of research and development to keep making it new and better and adding stuff, but at a certain point, when you're a professional, you're spending, some of these things are $50, $100 a month.
Yeah.
And after 5 years, you're spending thousands of dollars for software you used to be able to buy for hundreds of dollars, $500. So for you to say, I'll do you $9.99 a month, no problem, but it's going to stop in 10 months or 19
Right.
months or whatever the agreement is, it's going to stop and you're going to own this piece of software. That's so refreshing to hear in this day and age where everything's a subscription.
So let me ask you
Everybody
a
wants
question.
to subscribe to Disney Plus or Adobe Creative Suite or whatever.
Right.
Everybody wants you to a membership. I want you your $10 a month for the rest of your life. This is very refreshing in this realm, in our audio, digital audio space. I think this is really cool. And
Okay, so it's only digital audio stuff, right?
Yes.
Okay, now, it's free to be a member. You only pay when you rent something.
Yes. There are free plugins on here. They're they're probably not the greatest, but there are free plugins. There's top free plugins. There's a bunch here. I can view all. There's 75 free plugins you can just download. There are, again, they're started with looped packages and royalty-free music that you can subscribe to that service separately. But there are also some free packs you can get here and there.
Their other big deal is the cloud syncing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a second product, right?
Yeah.
They sell loops.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's a service. That's a monthly subscription. I think it's $8 a month, $9 a month. I don't know that you can get royalty-free loops, sample packs. They also do contests where you can whoever sponsors. Like there's one with Travis Barker. He's a drummer from I want to say Blink 182 maybe. He has a contest where you download a free loop pack and stems from a song and you can remix it. So there's a lot of cool stuff going on, and the web's pretty cool.
A long time ago, and I'm almost embarrassed to tell you my age now, but anyway, a long time ago, there was a store, an actual brick and mortar store, and you could go to the store, and they had 50 computers there running, and you could try and borrow software. Everything from Microsoft Word, it didn't matter what it was, and try them and compare them to each other. It was the greatest thing. I've never seen anything like it. It was my favorite store. I can't even tell you how many hours I spent there. It was so fascinating because I could try things and not spend the money on them. So it was, It was really terrific. And this reminds me a little bit, almost like a virtual version of this. I mean, I think this is really great.
Yeah.
Anyway, the plugin sounds interesting. I don't know. It sounds like yet one more of my 5 billion cents that I own. But but it's really intriguing.
A couple of people that I know do some music too have come across Serum. So again, I think I wanted it for collaboration purposes. If I ever work with, I know he has this. So,
well, mine's not a plugin, but it is a. Let me show it, and I might have actually shown it once before, but it's not a plugin, but it's a utility, and it's a utility that, frankly, I don't even know if I could do half the stuff I do without this, seriously. And it runs, it's an unfortunate thing because it only runs on a Mac. I'm going to warn everyone up front, it's a Mac-only thing. And it's a shame because to do this on the PC is much more problematic. This is made by a company called Rogue Amoeba, and it is a tool, and I'm sure we've talked about it in the past. It's a tool that allows you to basically create virtual audio devices on a Mac. And the reason it's so awesome is that you can create any combination of things to be any other things and move them to any other things. Hardware, software, physics, it doesn't matter what it is. So like up here, this is my feed to Skype. So when it's on, you can see my microphone working. The reason it's working is if you look down here, this is my microphone input from my Orion, which is my audio interface. And it's being fed into this output channel, which means that any piece of software, any device that's physically attached to your machine, or any piece of software like Skype or Zoom, can use this as if it was a real-world audio device. Which means I'm feeding this right now. If someone was on with Skype, which there's nobody right now, but if I was, they would be getting this feed, and they would also be able to get, Ecamm, Farrago, Final Cut, anything, whatever I had running, turned on or off, would be sent to those applications. Which I'm telling you, this thing has saved so much problems. This is the company. They make great stuff. Seriously, in fact, I own most of their stuff. It's not particularly expensive, but what an incredible tool. I'm telling you, what a tool. So that's my plugin, and I'm sticking to it. Which leads us to the last issue of the day, and that is, of course, gear we would love to own, but Will, why don't you tell us what yours is?
But if the next mic purchase I make, which who knows when that'll be, I don't need another microphone, but it would be a Townsend Labs modeling mic, the L22 microphone modeling system. It's $1499.99, $1,500, but it covers, I don't know how many, with 30 or 40 different microphones. Last I checked, and you have the classics like the C414, the U87. You could do dynamics, you could do condensers, and like Henry wanted to buy a ribbon mic, and I told him, Henry, there's not a lot you could do with a ribbon. Don't spend $1,500 on a ribbon. But he's like, I really want that ribbon sound. But these mics, this mic in particular, Townsend, probably the better ones out there, is dual capsule. Is a really good microphone up front, but can emulate a lot of the classics. So if I had $1,500, I think I'd buy a Townsend L22.
All right. So what is mine? This is for somebody who knows something about great music and complex polyrhythms and integral counter time and fabulous musicianship. And oh no, that wouldn't be you, Will. No, that was a joke. So here's the thing. Yeah. So there's an incredibly famous bass player who, in fact, played with Chick Corea in his early days, and his name is Stanley Clarke. He's an incredible bass player, one of the greatest bass players of all time. And he has a very unique instrument that he plays and has always played. And it is just, I've always wanted one. And the reason it's unique, first of all, it looks and plays and sounds like nothing that is out there. And it's made by a company called Alembic, Alembeic. And I want one of these, and I will show you why. This is the Stanley Clarke Signature Alembic. It is absolutely to die for.
I have to tell you, I have had one of these in my hand before.
Yeah, they play and sound like nothing ever. Nothing ever sounds, looks like it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I have to say, this is very unique. I would like to say it's ugly, but I know some people would get mad at me for that.
Yeah, I would get mad at you. I think it's quite beautiful.
Very nice. It's a very well crafted
and it sounds very unique. It's very unique. It does not sound like anything. They're also very expensive. Yeah, this is
not cheap. I mean, you on Reverb, you got a Stanley Clarke Deluxe for $14,000. Yeah, you can get them as cheap as $6,000-$7,000, but some of the nicer models are up there $14,000.
Yeah, they're not cheap. Anyway, they're incredible. Look at this one. You can get Jerry Garcia one. I don't think it's Alembic though. Well, maybe it is actually. I'm not sure. Anyway, they're beautiful basses. They're $10,000 to get one.
Yeah.
There it is, $13,000, $13,800 for his bass.
Mm-hmm.
So very impressive, amazing sounding. And if I had all the money in the world, that's what I would buy, and that's my pick. It is a good choice, right? Well, Will, next week part two. Part two.
The reveal.
Part B.
The unveiling.
How do you do?
What
B?
are you doing? Gang signs? What are you doing? Gang signs?
Well, no, it's part B. Is that right? That would be backwards, wouldn't
it? B. Part
B. I can't really do it very well.
It's gang signs. Definitely, we're throwing up gang signs over here. No, I know. I'm making stuff up.
Okay. So that's it for today. There will be a reveal. I will try to film opening it and showing you how frustrated I am because I picked the wrong thing.
I hope not. I hope this is the one. This is it.
Oh my God! Well, there's some issues because I'm sacrificing some stuff to get stuff I wasn't really thinking about getting. But some stuff has to be enough to do what I wanted to do. Otherwise, there's no point in doing what I'm doing. So the whole thing could be a complete cluster. Ugh. I hate to say it. It could end up not in a good situation. But we'll find out. So
to be
continued. So next week, Will. See ya.
All right. So then,
Bye
see ya.
bye.
Bye.